Welcome to Michele's Making. Hope you're ready for coffee, crafts, cookies, and cocktails. Let's get going.
Welcome and welcome back to those of you who are returning. I really do appreciate that. Today is National Pistachio Day, Tell a Fairy Tale Day, and Skip the Straw Day. So let's help out the environment and skip the straw today. Maybe get a metal straw and skip the straw every day. And tell a fairy tale. Oh my goodness, I have to give a shout out to my cute little nephew Clayton, who is the king of telling tales. So shout out Clayton. Tell me a tale the next time I see you. And for Pistachio Day, we're going to make a delicious pistachio cookie. Before we get going with that, let's enjoy some French vanilla coffee. Very yummy. Get our day going with that. So let's make it a great day. Get going with those cookies and then on to some crafts.
As always, the recipe will be in the description box. For these delicious cookies, you're going to need all-purpose flour, butter, vanilla extract, almond extract, crushed pistachios, and confectioner's sugar. You begin by creaming the butter and adding your extracts and continue to cream well. Next, you'll mix in the confectioner's sugar. Make sure you cream it well and scrape down the bowl as needed. Once that's well incorporated, you add the flour a little at a time, again scraping the bowl and mixing well. Next is the crushed pistachios. Mix well. Once this is done, you'll cover the dough and refrigerate for at least 30 minutes. While the dough is chilling, you can make the icing. This is done by browning butter. Don't burn it, just brown it. Adding the vanilla extract and heavy whipping cream. Whisk that together well and then add confectioner's sugar. There's a balance between the whipping cream and the confectioner's sugar to get the consistency you want. I like the consistency to be such that it drips off of the whisk. And you'll see here as I'm whisking it together, I'll check to see that it's dripping off the whisk. Once the dough is chilled, you'll form tablespoon-sized balls and place them about 1.5 inches apart on a parchment-lined cookie sheet. Bake at 350 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on your oven, but just barely light golden brown on the top and bottom. Once the cookies have cooled, drizzle the icing on top and enjoy. These are yummy. Our first craft of the day is a stuffed shamrock. I used a tinsel shamrock from Dollar Tree where I removed the tinsel because I only need the form. Once I did that, the form had little plastic nubs around the edges, so I trimmed those off with my wire snips. I cut 8 sheets of batting. Because the batting I had was quite thin, I needed to use 2 sheets for each leaf of the clover. You want your squares to be big enough that it covers the leaf and can fold around to the back. Using a 2-pack of bandanas from Dollar Tree, I took the green plaid bandana and cut it into 4 equal-sized squares. I hot glued the batting to the frame of the shamrock. Be careful when you're using hot glue and very thin material or batting such as this, because it's very easy to burn yourself. So just be cautious and use something to press it down or a finger protector. I followed this process for all 3 of the clover leaves and also for the stem of the clover. Next, I took a square of the bandana, being careful that the factory stitched edge was towards the center of the clover, and stretched and pulled the fabric around and hot glued it on the back side. Here you can see I was using a paint spatula to push down onto the hot glue. I was really trying not to burn myself. As you stretch and pull to glue it down, the fabric will cover most of the backside. Follow this process for all 3 of the clover leaves and also for the stem. On the stem, I turned the print of the fabric diagonally. I thought that looked nice. For the center, I used a plastic plug that I had and a piece of fabric from the second bandana. Covered it, glued it all in, and then placed it in the center. I had centered a clover in the middle of that button. I thought it looked quite cute that way. And there you have it, our stuffed shamrock. Our next craft is a really simple one. It's a ribbon wrapped vase. And this is a great idea when you're giving someone flowers and you just have a simple plain vase. It dresses it up a little. I used a Dollar Tree vase and about 2 yards of blue ribbon. Finding the center of the ribbon, I started at the bottom, wrapped it around, crisscrossed it on itself, and brought it back around to the front, crisscrossing it again, and then taking it to the back. Following this process, try to make sure that your crisscrosses are lining up in the center of the vase, front and back. Once you reach the end, you will tie a simple shoelace bow. And once you get the bow adjusted to the size that you like, just dovetail your ends of the ribbon as you trim them off to give it a polished look. Follow the same process for your second contrasting ribbon, but start at the top and start on the same side as your bow. Crisscross in the back, bringing it around. This will finish at the bottom of the vase and your bow will be on the opposite side. Trim it up and there you have it. Very easy, ribbon wrapped vase. The next craft is a woven Easter egg using a tinsel egg sign from Dollar Tree. Tinsel removed and the little plastic nubs trimmed off also. Cut your ribbon, wired ribbon, to be the width of your egg as you go down the egg. It's important it's wired ribbon so that you can bend it on the form and it'll kind of stay in place. I had a little bit of trouble with the ends sliding off, so I did end up putting my pink clips on the top and the bottom to help hold the ribbons in place. Once the solid color ribbons were in place, I took a plaid ribbon and starting at the top in the middle, wove it down in between every other ribbon. Again, I used the pink clips to hold it in place at the top and the bottom. I did this again working to the outside of the egg. And you can see here why the ribbon being wired is very helpful. You can still lift it up and weave the plaid ribbon through, but if you had glued it, you wouldn't be able to do it this way. Once the weaving was complete, I turned the egg over and I did hot glue the edges of the ribbon down to the frame. Next, I made a loop with each color of the ribbon and secured it with a wire tie. I didn't tighten it completely because I did want to put a tail on, so I cut another strip of each color and dovetailed the ends, then fed it through the center underneath the wire tie before cinching it tight. Next, you know what I say, every good bow needs a good fluffing. So I pulled out all the loops and fluffed them up and arranged the tails the way I wanted them to be. You can see the back doesn't look very pretty, so I decided to cover it up. I used a self-adhesive cork sheet and traced the shape of the egg and trimmed around. I used the self-adhesive glue and hot glue to secure the back. I made a large bow out of the plaid ribbon, but I really preferred the way the smaller bow looked. What do you think? I attached the small bow with hot glue, and there you have it, our woven Easter egg. The next craft is an Easter egg arrow sign. I had a sign from Valentine's Day that I decided to remake. I removed the wire hanger and gave the arrow sign a couple of coats of the Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white, and then used the antiquing wax to distress it and give it an aged look. Next, I adhered the vinyl cutout I made on my Cricut using this fun font. Remember, when using a delicate or intricate font, sometimes the transfer can be a little challenging, so just be patient and go slowly and go back and rub it on some more if need be. Once this was done, I gave it a coat of Mod Podge to seal it. I then reattached the wire hanger. I wrapped the wire ends around a wooden dowel to give them a little curly-Q look. And there you have it, our Easter egg sign. Our final craft today is a backside bunny hop. For this, I used a sign I'd picked up at Dollar General during the holidays. Using the white chalk paint on the black frame, I gave it a distressed look. I then actually used the chalk paint to paint the design completely, because I'm going to put a self-adhesive piece of vinyl on it, and it's a little transparent and the design would show through it, so I needed to paint it solid white first. I taped off the frame and then gave the design a good coating of white chalk paint. After that dried, I gave it a coat of Mod Podge. When that dried, I applied my self-adhesive vinyl. It's a white-on-white paisley print that's really pretty. It doesn't show up real well here on the video, but it was really cute. Next, I used the pink bunny out of the bunny banner that I picked up at Dollar Tree and glued it to the frame. Now, the glue showed through completely through the felt, so I ended up Mod Podging over the entire thing. And that did a good job of covering up the glue. And while it was wet, I decided to add some glitter, because I do love glitter. But I have to say, this glitter was a total fail. Sometimes our fails just cause us to work in a different direction. This glitter just wouldn't stick in some places and clumped in others, so I ended up taking a paintbrush and trying to even it out, which it did, but I didn't like it at all. So I ended up taking my Waverly chalk paint in steel gray and painting the whole bunny gray. Now, with the glitter and the glue, it gave it some texture that almost looked like the hair on a bunny. So I really liked the way this looked in the end. Sometimes the fails turn out better than we expect. Once the bunny was done, I had printed out the words hippity hop on my Cricut and adhered them to the bottom of the sign. I just thought that was a cute touch to my bunny hopping away. And there you have it, our backside bunny hop. And now it's time for a refreshment, one of my favorites that I call Micheles concoction. I will put the recipe in the description box, but for this, you're going to mix it over crushed ice. You're going to need Chambord, triple sec, vodka, and Jose Cuervo ready-to-drink light margarita. I use that because I feel like it's got the best sour mix. Most sour mix are very sweet, and this one is not. I prefer the tart flavors, as I've said already. But you mix everything together in the shaker and shake until well chilled and pour into that chilled martini glass to enjoy. If you haven't already figured it out, I do like martinis of sorts. But there you have it, Micheles concoction. Enjoy.
Well, folks, that's it for another week. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. Don't forget, February is our giveaway month. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, watch each episode in the month of February and give it a thumbs up, and comment on each episode in the month of February. Let me know what your favorite craft for that week was. But those are the requirements to be eligible for the giveaway. Subscribe, thumbs up, and comment each episode in February. This is the final episode for February, so if you didn't catch episode 12, 13, and 14, make sure you go back and do so. Next week, we'll announce the winner, and we'll also have the big reveal from behind the curtain coming along nicely. We've got some great additions to my craft space, so I'm excited about that. Make it a great week, and don't forget to take time to smell the